I wish I knew how to quit you. Brokeback Mountain is this video's movie, um, or this movie's video, or this review for this video. A great film, 2005's epic, impossible love story about two ranchers who meet one summer and they develop a very unexpected relationship to each other. Essentially, the movie it does take place over quite a few years, but kind of the first section of the movie is the very kind of convincing way and kind of a slow paced way, where you realize that these two characters, the two cowboys, played by Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger, in great performances, how they bond with each other and they kind of realize that they have a commonality with each other, and that they share a rapport basically, in their life, and it turns to friendship, but it of course turns into something different, and something that neither of them quite suspected. Like, essentially the movie is, I mean, the characters are Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Jack Twist. He's kind of more open about being gay in those times, because he's you kind of get the sense that he's had relationships or encounters in the past, but Heath Ledger's character Ennis, not so much. So basically, what it is, and kind of in the strangest way possible, I would compare this somewhat to Gone with the Wind, because it is an unconventional love story where the two characters, they can't keep together because of each other, because of their conflict, particularly with Ennis, who he just denies the whole thing pretty much. He wants to kind of have this normal life, or what have you, with the wife, with the kids, with everything like that. But we know as the audience that he loves Jack Twist. And of course, this does take place mainly in the 1960s. I think it goes into the 70s as well. So it definitely spans quite a few years. You know, in showing their facial hairs. Of course, once it gets to the 70s, there's sideburns, and Jake Gyllenhaal has the mustache, and that's kind of funny. But just to kind of effectively show how time is moving. And basically it's a love story where nobody says "I love you," because they can't, not in these times. A lot of the tender moments of this movie are the unspoken ones, and kind of what prevents this movie from being like a Hallmark classic, like, oh, we love each other, but it's times like these that no one would accept us, something like that. It's not about society's acceptance so much as it is the character's own acceptance to the relationship. Mainly, again, with Ennis, who has some deep-seated fears about homophobia, as we learn in a story that he tells, about a gay man being basically lynched and left for dead. So there is that fear there, but there also is, the relationship that's kind of defibrillates every couple of years. So they don't see each other for year on ends, and they get together to go fishing. And that, like, the way it moves, it is so convincing, because, like, again, the first section of the movie is when they first meet, when they're doing their ranch work, and what happens there. And they just kind of part ways, basically. They don't talk about it. And there's that great scene that kind of closes that chapter, where Ennis, has to go into the alley, and he's punching the wall, and it's just a great performance by Heath Ledger. He was nominated for Best Actor for this movie, and strangely, Jake Gyllenhaal was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, which, I mean, they're both pretty much the leads. But yeah, if you had to, if you're swayed to say who's the lead, yeah, a little bit, it is the Ennis character, I would say. But then after that section of the movie, when they first meet each other for the first time, it's a very moving scene where, they don't say anything, they just embrace. But then, of course, Ennis' wife, played by the great Michelle Williams, who was also nominated for an Oscar for this, for Best Supporting Actress, she sees them in the window, and she doesn't know what to make of it. So a lot of it is kind of the secret about the relationship, and Ennis' own denial of it, and kind of how it is an impossible love story. It is about star-crossed lovers whose greatest obstacles include each other. I think the performances are wonderful in the movie. Great cinematography, of course, like especially in the earlier scenes. But there's that great scene where at the 4th of July fireworks display where you know Ennis is pretty much taking out his angst on just any random person who would cause a scene. And in this case, it's just one of the jerk biker guys who's being too loud and causing a trouble, and where you see it's like a low angle where he looks like he's towering over the person, and the fireworks are going. It's such a beautiful, memorable shot of the movie, and yeah, of course the music. The music is wonderful. Gustavo Centella, I believe, he did this score. Kind of the notable things about the movie is that it did win Best Original Score by Centella, though the music only really occupies approximately 15 minutes of the movie in total. But I mean, what have you? It could occupy 5 minutes, whatever. I mean, it's a very memorable score. I love it. It's a great score and very kind of. It is subtle and understated, like the movie itself. So it is a very character-based movie, which I like. Very complex characters in this movie, and kind of their struggles in their day-to-day life, and kind of what's always in the back of their head and within their heart, if I can get a little cheesy, is each other. And this is spoilers, but it does ultimately go to tragedy, where the correspondences stop and one of them dies, and that's pretty much it. Jack dies. Freak accident. At least so we're meant to believe, but possibly something else has happened, which kind of just tears Ennis apart. And there's that beautiful moment where he keeps the jacket from when they were first out there on Brokeback Mountain doing the ranch work, where he had broken his nose, well, not broken his nose, but got a bloody nose in the fight, and you see that he's kept there with the picture of the mountain, and he embraces the jacket and says, "Jack, I swear," and it's beautiful. I mean, it is a very beautiful love story, and not even just because it is a gay story is what kind of makes it stand out. It is because of the characters themselves and kind of I don't know, like the star-crossed lovers, the denial of love. It is kind of a universal thing and a tragic thing, but it is moving the way they kind of keep each other in each other's hearts, I guess, which is it's sad because we kind of know going in that this isn't going to end with them running off together and being in love. It'd be nice, but in times like that, it just wasn't in the cards, I guess, which is the tragedy of the movie and the tragedy of the love story. But what happens in between is life, and they do have very, very interesting and conflicting lives, and it's a great drama, really. I think it is one of the better movies to be snubbed for Best Picture. This, of course, infamously lost to Crash. And kind of a sign of the times. Like, this movie was subject to so many punchlines by so many late night talk shows, whatever. Always making gay cowboy jokes. Pretty much people called this the gay cowboy movie. I remember one time, I'll never forget this. Like, I went to the store to buy this movie, and I ran into a friend of mine. And he said, "Oh, what'd you buy?" I bought a couple of movies, and he looked at this one. He's like, "This belongs in the trash." And I was like, "Whoa, okay." Never talked to him again. But anyway, I mean, it's still kind of, and the fact that it didn't win Best Picture, it kind of, shows kind of maybe homophobia is still kind of rampant. I mean, progress is being made, maybe in kind of a small way. This movie kind of played a part in that, to have a big Hollywood movie like this, to show a relationship between two men and not have it the punchline of anything, not have it be a joke, to show it with utter sincerity and beauty with the relationship. It is quite something, and I think this is, in its own way, a monumental movie. It's strange because it is, an epic movie because it does show such a broad scape of time. But in the same way, it's a small movie. It's a simple movie about characters, but the characters themselves aren't quite simple, and the conflict in their love story is very much indeed moving. So I think it's great. Ledger, an absolute icon, a legend. I miss this actor every day. I wish we could have seen more from him. Very, very tragic that we lost him. It was so horrible, but very much deserved the nomination that he won for this movie. Gyllenhaal as well, an actor that continues to impress me. Both very brave actors in approaching this material with utter sincerity, and it's among their best work. So I think it's a great film. I wouldn't say it should have won because I like Munich the best of the movies that were nominated for that year. It definitely should have won over Crash. If this was kind of like the front runner, it definitely should have won. Ang Lee, of course, won Best Director. And Ang Lee, he's just such a great director that knows characters so well and brings them the attention that they deserve. So he knows characters, he knows actors, and he knows beautiful imagery. So, I mean, this was definitely an Oscar well-deserved by Ang Lee. So yeah, that's pretty much my review of Brokeback Mountain. It's a great film, and if you haven't seen it, sorry for spoiling it, but definitely still worth checking out. A classic, and definitely a movie that I always like to watch kind of around Oscar time. So yeah, that'll do it, and thanks for watching.